Make sure it's facing the right way. Kind of eyeball that up. And when I'm looking at this tread, all I want to do is identify what's unique. It's, most tires, I think pretty much all of them, have some type of pattern that goes around, right? That pattern might extend over a few treads, or in this case, it's literally almost like one section of tread, okay? That's what determines how much you have to make. So I'm looking at this, and it looks like this part here to this part here is pretty much the section. That's all that needs to be done. So I'm going to get rid of some of this.
You cannot see all the lines. You cannot see the plane.
Yes, I know, it's in black and white. It's amazing.
Why don't you try someone else's computer?
Yeah, try my computer.
If you want,
I volunteer you to make the tread on mine. There we go.
You should screen share.
Would you be able to, like, the layer options and have to highlight to a different color, or is that not what it does?
Oh, the... do. Yeah, it's all this. I don't think it's a matter. It's all
You make the picture slightly transparent or something?
black and white. Alright, I don't know if you can see that any better.
No.
But basically, I just need this part from right here. So where's this pattern?
Where's the pattern?
Where's the pattern in this tire? Here's the start of the tread. Here's the start of the next tread here. So I just need from here to where the next one starts. Okay? It'll show up a little bit better once I...
But you, seems like you have two
Yes, I
sections.
have more than I need right now. For sure. Right?
In space
So right now I'm just getting rid of the excess. And trust me, it's just almost as hard for me to see it over here. So when I'm moving these vertices, okay, you can see I'm moving this whole row. I'm grabbing the back and the front part because I want to have, if I grab it like this, you can see it's going to create the same curve or angle here as it has in the front, which means that they'll line up to each other when you stack them in front of each other, or they should. So as long as I move them like this, they should be fine. Okay, you should also be able to scale them like this and move them in position. So I'll just keep on shaded so maybe it's a little easier to see. So I'm gonna end this right here at the height. This is a part that sticks up, but then I also need the groove. Okay, this is the low part of the tread in here, the little thin groove. I'm gonna line that up. Just scale it. Put it in position. Okay. And I'm just following this all the way back. I can move all these back a little bit. Okay. Obviously this needs work, so I'm going to go in here and just define this space. You can see this one doesn't line up, it's too small. I'm going to scale this, kind of put that into place right there. There we go. And obviously all this needs to be rescaled as well. So you can see here's the back part of the tread right here, and I need to go to the front part of that next tread. Okay, so you see where that next tread repeats itself. This part here is the exact same thing as this part here is here. So I just need the tread and the little space that's in between.
How did you do that, Paul?
So again, I'm just scaling them. Something like that. And I need my edges to I need edges to be where these divots or insets are going to be. I'll have to put those in. But this is just a flat plane that I have identified where that pattern is. If you have a pattern that checkers over itself a little bit, just define that space of how much you need to do, and only make it till it repeats itself. So if you could have something that repeats itself where it looks like this. Okay, and these sections fit in here, right? Like if you had a pattern like that, you could have something like that. Yes.
My tire has two patterns.
Let me see.
It has one in the middle, or like three. The one on the side and the one in the middle of the side.
So where does that pattern repeat itself?
Maybe repeat like in 3 ways.
So what do you have to make? You have this,
Right.
this, and that. So I'm guessing you don't have to make any more than 2 of these and 1 of those. Right?
So I need to use multiple planes.
No, make it with 1.
Alright.
Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit of curvature to this. We know tires aren't, the tread isn't completely flat, so I just want to round the sides a little bit so I get some tread that goes into the side. I'm just going to bring this part down. a little bit like that. Just however far you want that tread to extend through the side. If you have another view, can be helpful. And then I'm just going to extend it back. Okay. That'll give it a little bit of tread. A little bit of tread action on the side. Always a good thing. And I'll just snap this one down to match it. Okay. Something like that. I'm now going to put in some additional geo to define where these cuts are. So I'm going to make sure these line up to where these parts of the tire actually are. Might be a good idea.
Is it bad if we make our own edges? Or?
No. You do you want to alter the pattern you have, or?
It's just that I had to add some more edges because of the tread.
No, that's fine. Chances are, like, when I dupe this, you can already see this angle's like off. I'm gonna have to readjust it so it will actually snap to itself correctly. I've already messed it up, but it's fine. You just want to just make whatever section you're making. We just need to make sure this one section's good, and then the rest of the whole thing's good. And I'll add in this. I'm gonna add kind of like my own little thing in the middle. It's different than this pattern, so I'll do something a little different.
Oh, it's
Okay. So defining these areas. Okay, got a few more to do up here. That's probably bigger than I want. Okay. So I have it all worked out where I want to have these little either however you want to see it, the insets going in or the tread coming out, however you view it. And what I want to do, instead of having just this one valley down the center, I'm going to actually add some tread that goes all the way around right there, and kind of like racing type stripes or something, I don't know. So to do that, I'm going to end this one a little early, and that one right about there. Okay, I think that should be. Let me see if this will work out the way we want. Okay. I think that will be fine. And then I still need to add an edge that's going to define where the cavity is that goes horizontally. So I'm just going to come in here and try to add an edge loop right here. Okay. Let me let's do this. Let me put a new Lambert on here. And just add a little bit of transparency to it. I don't know if that helps. See things maybe? And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to come in here and just manipulate the points that are defining this curve. Just want to make sure this is about right. I don't need this one in the middle right there. That thing's not doing anything. I don't believe. So just line these up. This way some more with the. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I just was lining up where that cut comes in. I'll look at this in perspective mode, just look at a few of these, and I might alter a few of these curves to make them a little bit nicer. See if anything's like kind of jutting out in a weird way. I think overall that looks fine. Okay. So the thing I want to do next, usually it will line up where it should just be able to snap in place. If you move the front and the back parts together, they should all line up. I've kind of, obviously saw me kind of skew it a little bit, so I know it's not going to perfectly match up. So I want to make sure I fix that. I'm going to freeze this and then move its pivot right here to the back point, okay? I'm going to dupe this and snap it into position. Okay? And you can see that that doesn't line up. So, hey there.
So I guess the outlet's busted.
Well, I guess like other people have tried it in their computers. Or trying to tell her. Mine does.
When was the last time they tried it?
I don't know.
Yes,
I
it is
can,
last night.
I can save this and somebody else can plug in and try it, see what's up.
It's a cool effect.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
So I just talked to Nick. He's tied up, but he said that there's maybe an intermittent issue with the outlet, but the
after class, some of these guys can try it out because I know the other day somebody plugged theirs in and it worked just fine. Mine still doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, give that a go, and then if it does work just fine, just send an email to support so we know
It's probably just me.
that it's
Probably just your computer.
Yeah.
I plugged
You're
in
always
yesterday.
Huh?
Remember I plugged in it yesterday. Turns out to be fine.
Yeah. Yesterday's when it changed. It was color, and then when black and white hasn't come back.
I mean, black and white better than blue screen.
Yeah.
Once it went black, you don't go back.
Exactly. That's what they said.
yeah, at least we're not blue screen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're making progress.
Sorry,
It's all good. Thanks, dude. Yeah.
If we just like turn the second one into an instance, and then if we were to change the front of that, then it'll change the front of the
Yeah, you could do it that way too. That's how it works. I'm just gonna do it like this. You can totally do that if you so desire. So I'm just gonna select this front. I like pretty much like this curvature I have in front. So I'm just gonna grab this and snap these points to the front of the one that was in the back. Something like this. So I'm just snapping them. Okay, we can get rid of this one now. So now anytime that I duplicate this should line up. Okay, so we know it's going to be watertight if we don't touch anything anymore. I think we're good. But we still don't really have any tread on this guy. Okay. So I'm going to save this. I have my section defined. It's going to be able to duplicate and stitch together perfectly the way I want, but we need tread. Adding the tread's pretty easy. All you do is just select the faces that you want to have tread. Okay, so that's where I have my tread. So you can see, like I said, I made this center part a little bit different. Just in case you have something like this, you'll see what to do. Everything else is fine. So once you have the faces selected that you want to actually become tread, all you do is extrude, hit W, and decide that the thickness of the tread. You want really big tread, make really big tread. You want really shallow tread, make shallow tread. I'm just gonna, if you want that for some reason, do that. I'm just gonna do something like that probably. Now, if you go and you hit 3, you can see this doesn't look very tread-like. It's not really holding its form at all. So, I need to make sure that we're good. Okay. So we need to add some don't know if this is easy for you guys to see like this. This semi-translucent material. It's a little interesting. Make sure that it's how you expect on the bottom. This looks fine. Okay. Good. I'll do the rest in the perspective, maybe it'll be a little easier to see. I don't need my image really anymore. And I just need to add some edges to help thicken up these parts. Or to have them hold shape. So I can put an edge loop here. Maybe right here. You don't want to put these super close together. If you put them too close to the edge, it's going to look like metal or concrete or something. It needs to have a little bit of a rubbery feel to it. Also, it needs to be soft enough so you can transfer normal information from your maps, but you need to feel like rubber. Okay. Put one there. Maybe I'm going to let, I could put one here if I wanted to. I think I'm just going to leave that like that, so when it goes into the side of the tire, it just kind of will smooth into it. I think that would probably be fine. Do I want, maybe I define it a little bit more right there. Okay. And just put in the edge loops where you need them to have it hold its shape. Usually you don't need to put another one in here on the tire, that will make it too hard. Just on the immediate side. I don't know if I'll bother to put one there. Okay, this should start looking pretty tire-like maybe. Okay. So before we go and dupe this, what should we do before we get crazy?
Duplicate it.
Save it. I'll do that. Sounds good. Freeze it.
Sorry.
Unthaw it, it's good. I'd freeze it. I think we're good. Okay, anything else that we should do before we make 1 million copies?
Control D and put it somewhere else.
I think our pivot is good. But this is where you can put it along any of the edge, it doesn't matter. I usually put it at the furthest point. Looks like we're good there. Anything else that's you do before you make a gazillion of something?
What do you think we should do?
Right.
Right? That it doesn't explode?
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
Well, I guess the point is say for instance this mesh has a problem. What's going to happen if you make 50 copies of it?
We have 99.
Yeah, 90, yeah, 50. And an N-gon might be 1. It might be. So do cleanup, maybe?
You should clean up.
I think it might be a good idea.
Like let it clean up. No.
Yeah, that's a horrible idea. Never let it do a cleanup. Anyone have it do a cleanup for them yet?
I have to triangulate.
Yeah, it'll make crazy stuff. Don't just have it show you. Get the inverse. It looks like we're clean,
Ha. Ha 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 ha.
so we're good. So just make sure this lines up still. It looks like it's going to line up. So is there any other problems or anything else I need to take care of before I start doing this?
That's a trick question.
No. I would never do such a thing.
Okay.
Right.
Are you gonna combine that?
Well, they're going to be combined, right?
Yeah. How do you combine it? curve.
How would you define a circular shape?
Oh, me?
Or from this point, how would you actually keep it in a circular pattern?
I'm just gonna keep it flat for right now. So if you see how these things are coming together, right? All these are fine, right? This is going to a flat spot. Then we get another guy here where it goes up, right? Keep in mind this middle tread that I put in for a purpose, and to show you guys something. Get really close to this. This is just like Star Wars.
Wait, should you take off the face at the end of the middle? Like,
That might be a good idea. Why would we want to take that one off?
there's no barrier.
There's no barrier, right?
So when it snows, it doesn't move that it's cut off.
Yeah, these are essentially going to be connected, right? It's going to be continuous. So if you have a shape like that, make sure to get rid of the face that's going to be in the inside. That's why I put that part in on this. Didn't exist on this strip. Okay.
Do that for all the back sides.
So do I need to do it back here on this? You can see that back here I get this spacing. You can see those don't connect. They're still fine. Okay. So I just need to make sure that I have like copies on copies for some reason. Okay, so I just have one. Looks like we're good. So with the one selected, the pivot point in the right spot, all I need to do is Control D, and I'm going to snap it right here. After I snap it, I let the fun begin with Shift D, which duplicates and does your last translation. And because the pivot point's in the right spot, it's going to just stack them. So I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
It's not.
Okay, so I just did 36 in 30 seconds. Not bad. Don't rage quit. So the thing is setting it up, I can easily create the tread. How do you determine how much tread you want? Well, look at your how much you made, how much coverage you want that to cover. I can have this pattern, but I could put out 100 and still make a cylinder out of it. It doesn't matter. I can make as many as I want. But how thick do I actually want these once they're on the cylinder? How much space do I want that pattern to take up? So if you're really picky, count your tread, see how many degrees it takes up on your cylinder, and do a little math.
There's 16 on one side. So
Yeah.
What's that?
32
Shift and D?
It's just Shift D.
It's not doing anything.
So if it doesn't do anything, you probably pushed something before. You literally, to get it to work, okay? So to get it to work, I'm just going to Control D.
Scale this down.
I'm going to Control D again. I'm going to put it into place. You can move around a little bit, but if you click on anything else, it won't work. So I'm just going to leave it just like this. Now Shift D. If you click off, what's it going to do? And then click back on. You clicked back on, it did Shift D. It's just going to create a duplicate on top of itself. Okay, so you have to leave that last one highlighted. Okay, and it's when it works, pretty fun. So here we have a completed tread that's flat, that's all different parts. Just marquee select them, combine them, and then you're going to merge the verts. Again, this is something you want to make sure that you have that tolerance level set very, very low. If not, you're going to get all these merged in between. Okay? So this should be one geo completely merged, watertight. We can test that.
That looks impressive.
And here we got a full tread. Okay. So it's pretty cool, but it's still not round. It's not ready to put on your rim. Okay. But like I said, I mean, you can, the most complicated tread, you know, like you just get the part you need. That's all you need is just get that one section. You might have a part that checkers over itself like this. You see a tread like that, you literally just make this. Okay, so I can draw that on the board. So if you have a lot of treads, you probably see like this, right? You might see stuff like that, right? Okay. All I need to do is this plus the part that's in between, right? So this is 3D.
Okay. Yeah.
In color. There you go, color. Okay, so this part here, that's all I need is here. Okay. A little shaded action.
Nice.
Oh, we don't want to have an end gun. There you go. Okay. So this section here, if you dupe this on top of itself, you're going to get that cool checkered chevron pattern type of thing. If you have something that goes more where you have, it goes up here, and then maybe you have another piece that's actually longer like this, which you might see with kind of an inset. So you have another kind of L piece. I would just create just this one section, then it dupes again. So you get that unique look. You get these every two, or whatever it is, and just see where it repeats. That's the only part you have to make. The markers are still in color. Thank you. This is not the whiteboard. Just troubleshooting that. Okay. Thanks in the back. Appreciate that. I've been working all day on my, on that material. Okay. Yeah. Just imagine what the first class goes through. They get all the test jokes.
I'm so sorry.
So, with this like this, we need to bend it. And to bend it is really pretty easy. Just hold the space bar. Bending it is creating a deformity. You're deforming the mesh. So go under Create Deformities or Deformers. Nonlinear bend. Okay?
Should we do the box?
No, I'm just going to do the bend. You can manipulate it. Okay? So here it is again. Create Deformers. Nonlinear bend. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if you have your shaded wireframe on, as soon as you select that deformer, you probably can't see it very well, but you can see this is highlighted. That's actually magenta. Okay?
Can you do that again?
Huh?
I can see it.
I know you can't see it because it's black and white.
Can do it again. Sorry.
But this here is magenta right now. Exactly like how it is when you did a lattice and you had shaded wireframe on. Anytime your mesh turns magenta, it means something else is controlling it. So again, that goes back to understanding the hierarchy system. The bend tool, like the lattice, is the parent. The mesh is the child in the hierarchy. So just like regular parents, you just manipulate or guide them what to do, and they do it, right? Because children are so obedient. But in programming and computers, when you have a child-parent relationship, when the parent says this, it actually works, right? It typically. Sometimes no, right? Maybe they're trying to mimic real life. Who knows? But understanding the hierarchy system is critical to get anywhere deep within Maya. Understanding dependencies. This mesh is dependent on this bend operation right now. Whatever I do with this bend, that mesh is doing. Okay? So as soon as I don't select the mesh, I select the bend tool, you can just drag over top of it, it'll select it. And then right here in the bottom, you know when you create an object, you get some properties. I'm going to expand the bend to get its properties. By default, envelope is 1. I don't even honestly remember what that does. Just leave it. We don't touch it. Curvature is the amount of bend. Low bound and high bound is where you want that bend to take place. If you leave them at 1 and -1, that bend will uniformly take place on equal value of bending on the low part and the high part. If you switch one, it would start to bend more near the top of the mesh or the end of the mesh or the beginning of the mesh. Whatever, it's determined which is which. So literally if you wanted to make it so it's flat and then just curls down, you would put a bend of like 0 and then 1. And you would just be bending the top. Okay, but I want to bend it equally, so I'm leaving -1 and 1, equal bendage. I'm just going to type in something like 1 here, maybe 3. I can start to see that right now, here's the bend tool, but it's not bending the mesh the way I would expect it to. It's because the bend tool needs to be rotated so it's actually curving around. So I need this curve here to be down here. I need this line to be flat with this mesh. So with the bend tool selected, I'm just going to hit E to rotate, and I'm going to start rotating this. And this probably needs to go -90. And you can see once the bend tool is in position, it's bending the way you want it to. If for some reason you wanted it to bend this way, you could also rotate it this way. We could have a tire that looks like this.
That's pretty sweet.
Okay? So I could make a tire saucer.
Donut. A rubber donut.
Okay? But I don't want to. So now I'm going to come up here and look at how this is coming together, and I'm just going to start typing in values to see what I need. 3.5 is too much. 3.3 is not enough. 3.4 looks like too much. 3.35. It's getting closer.
3.8.
I already know what it is. It's probably like 3.7. It looks like that is going over actually a little bit. Okay.
That isn't how curvatures work.
So I would just find something really close. Okay.
Whoa. I just like magically do it.
Okay. So that's I don't think I can go any more of a decimal than that.
You can actually change the precision up to 15 decimals.
Oh, really? I think this is probably close enough. I think we're good.
Are you sure 15 decimals is pretty precise?
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be perfect.
Where it meets, like honestly, I get it pretty close, and then I'll just stitch that edge together. We're usually good to go. It's like I kind of lost where it was. Which maybe that means.
Control Z.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, it's right here. Alright, so here we are. This is close enough for me.
Why?
I'm now with the mesh selected. I'm going to delete the history, which means it's going to stay like this. And all I'm going to do is come in here and merge these vertices. There is a merge vertice tool, if I can find it. Right here. Looks like a little, so with no vertices selected, but in vertex mode, if you go, I think you have to have one selected. And then one vertex selected, then come down to vertex tool, and then you just get this little thing where you can grab one and then hover over another one, it'll snap it together. So maybe this is like maybe one of the rare circumstances where I'd use this tool. You just highlight it, make sure you actually merge into the right spot. And these are so close, it honestly doesn't matter which way you would merge something like this. I'm just stitching this together.
I think it'd be faster if we did it, just highlight the two birds and it'll merge.
Yeah, I could try to just change the tolerance to the right level and highlight all of them, and the ones that are within that tolerance would merge together.
I was just saying click, drag, merge. I think it'd be quicker, because then you don't have to find it. Really, you just go over the lines.
Yeah, that's only if you don't grab anything
On the other side.
on the other side, it will do the two. Which you could separate it if you wanted. Could be faster.
I know for the laptop.
Sure, let's try it. So I'm just gonna grab this and extract the face. Move this out of the way for a minute. If you can't find where it wasn't smoothing correctly, just hit 3. I should be able to find where that edge is, hopefully. It's right here.
Apply the bend. Go ahead, apply it.
Okay. So now I don't have a bottom on here. I should be able to just go in here and get them fairly quickly.
Right, where was the seam?
Yeah, if you're having a hard time finding the seam, that is a good thing though. So I know I'm not going to select through now. I just moved it off to the side, and because I moved it, I separated it. All I have to do is breathe 0 to back out, and it'll fit exactly where it's supposed to go.
Gotcha.
And if you're having a hard time seeing where that seam is, you could come up to Shift right click, Poly Display, Border Edge, which will highlight the edge a little bit thicker where the border is. Oh, you see, I forgot about that. So you can see it's a little bit thicker where I know there's a hole there that needs, but as soon as I stitch it together, you can see it's going away. So another little display that you could use. So there we go. It looks like we're good. And if you don't like having that done, just go to Poly Display, toggle off, border edge again, right back to where we were. I just click on this other half and just type in 0 again. Lines back up. Combine it. Re-merge. Complete the history. Okay, so now we got a full tire. We're making a little bit of progress. Okay. So if we go and we smooth this, this should start to look somewhat like a tire. Not bad. You could, where did our tire go? I don't need this image plane anymore, so we're gonna nuke it. I'm gonna put my pivot in the center here. Say I wanted a wider tire, I'd simply just widen it. If I needed something wider, okay. If I needed something thinner, I could still thin up my tire in here. Keep the same thing. Okay. Say for instance, like a lot of times on tires, the inside part is kind of comes in a little bit. It's not as thick. I could grab these and start scaling them in, but you can see that's going to look pretty weird. So in this case, if I hit B, which is a soft select, it's going to have a little bit of fall off. So you'd see a little bit of color. If you hold B and you scrub to the right and the left, you can expand how much that fall off is. So I'm going to expand it a little bit and maybe scale it down just a little bit. Uniformly in the center. Okay, then hit B again, and all that's going to do is that's now going to add that little bit of bow, however much you'd want. You can just add it in there if you wanted it. It looks like these treads here aren't holding as much as I wanted, and these are round across, so I can easily put in essentially radio geometry in these guys. I want those ones to hold their shape a little bit more. Okay. Let's flip that up a little bit. Let's add this thing's obviously ginormous. Go ahead and freeze that. Let's just add this side real quick. If it's all connected correctly, you should be able to double click on any edge and just extrude. As soon as you get to extrude, just hit R, drag it in uniformly to where it needs to be to match your rim. So maybe right there. I'm going to extrude again. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit, bring it in a little bit. Just create however you want to kind of top off that area. Okay. Maybe I want this to hold a little bit more. I'd probably recommend putting a few vertices, a few edge loops in here to kind of pull out the face of the tire, so it actually doesn't look completely flat. Just give it the shape that you want. Or something like that. And do the same thing on the back. So. Puffs that out, so it kind of does its thing. However you want to, I don't want that. However however you want to finish it off. But I would avoid putting any text, 3D text in Maya. There's a lot easier ways to do that in 2D. But smooth that off, that doesn't look too shabby. You know, if you're worried about some of these, kind of like these striations that are going on from these pinch lines, to clear that up before you would extrude, you'd need to condense some geo, you know, because there's so much geo that's coming down now into a tighter space. That's what's causing a little bit of a ripple right here. You can kind of see. I don't think it would be too much of a problem, but if you were really finicky about it and wanted to clean it up, you would condense that geo before all that comes down into such a condensed area. That's all you do. Just de-res it. Cool. Spare tires, so it's exciting. Make any tire you want. Give yourself a new set of rims, a new tire over the weekend. You should never have to pay for somebody fixing a flat tire now. Good to go. Yeah, exactly. The real life applications of what we learned. So let's focus on getting that, get the tire down, the rim down. They're similar, a little bit different ways to get to, but a similar type thought process. You're only making what you need. And it's something like this, when you can break it down like that, you really speed up what you're doing. You'll probably start noticing on other objects really just how much you really need. And just more effective ways on how to model it, how to go about it. Okay? So focus on this, and then make sure you have that done by Monday, and then Monday we'll get back to building more on the bodies of the car and stuff like that. So there'll be an upload. There's an upload link for the car, as you can notice on Monday. They're not going to be complete. Essentially, the following week will be like really one to do, and whatever grade you get on the car, like whatever you do on the car project, essentially counts twice. So there's 2 submissions, but whatever the better submission, hopefully next week, not Monday, but another week from Monday, right? So if you get whatever you get there, I take whatever the higher grade is, you know, which would probably be the finished model, right? And just update whatever you turned in on Monday, you know. Monday's more of like a check of like, you know, where are you at, okay? But if you do really well on your vehicle and stuff, you'll do fine, you do well. The vehicle is far more important than grade-wise and long-term than the laptop. The laptop we'll use it to texture and stuff like that, depending on how you did it. I'll probably just, you know, I might just give you a copy of mine to be able to make stuff from.
No wonder.
But the car is something you'll be using in other classes to rig into code physics to maybe even have them smash into each other and stuff. I have no idea. But you'll use your car long past this in other courses.
Question.
Good.
Can my particle back? It's running very slow.
Really?
Really?
I've been at full power for the last hour.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that.
That's kind of mean. How do you play in animation? Like, where's the play button?
We should plug these in because he has color.
Yeah.
Well, we turned off. Unless you put it back on, like the animation scrub bar that's on the bottom. That I just got rid of because we're not using it.
I just want to set this tire on fire.
Huh?
I just want to set this tire on fire.
Here, if you want to.
Still.
If you're interested in how to do the
I just added the fire effect. I just want to see it.
the what?
I just want to see it on fire. That's all.
Oh. Do you have the time slider at the bottom?
How do I get that back?
Under your display UI, I think it would just be animation. You got a time slider and then I don't remember what that one's called without looking at it. It's probably like keyframe number or something like that.
That's horrible. That's not fire. It's like,
Oh, are you looking at something that's like particles auto-generated fire?
yeah, that's what
Dude.
pretty
Well, most of the time, like what you see in your viewport is not what it looks like rendered. It's probably just like
Ryan, I didn't know the wrapping part once you have it all.
the bend part.
Is that?
You mean the bend part?
Yeah.
Just have that selected and go deformities, create deformities.
How do you think that looks
Huh?
for the thread?
Down here. Got a question? Yeah. Alright.
Oh, okay, I see. How did that trash go?
Nice. Nice.
That's my motivation. I'm close enough.
He didn't even do that in bend.
Yeah, he didn't do it as deep.
No, like you always have the full
Those two are
Well,
right. They
it's
just
their slightly. I mean, only because right here, the little in it, it's not as deep as I thought it was. Get it really good.